Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. Just want to address the Damon Arnett news that came out yesterday. The executive vice president of football operations, Daryl Johnston from the UFL, released the information that the 49ers were one of the teams interested in the first round draft pick, who only appeared in 13 games in the NFL. The Raiders kind of raided, and they selected Damon Arnett out of Ohio State with the 19th overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft. He played 13 games for them, several off the field issues, and he was released and then went to the UFL. In his 13 games, he only started seven, and that was in his rookie year. And three passes defensed, or passes broken up. He recorded 29 tackles, 23 solo, 6 assists, one tackle for a loss. And that was kind of a very short NFL career that he had. So he's making a comeback. The 49ers were reportedly interested, according to Daryl Johnston, as were the Houston Texans, D'Amico Ryans. So the Houston Texans did sign him. And this is what Daryl Johnston said. There were a couple of teams that were reaching out on him. He's got everything you want. He's got the length. He's a former first round NFL draft pick, so the talent is there. It's really the maturity. Has he learned from what happened to him in his first opportunity when he was in Vegas? He said, so it was great to see the Houston Texans call D'Amico Ryans because John Lynch in San Francisco was another one that called about him. So you can see they really fits that style of defense that D'Amico wants to install with the Texans, coming from San Francisco, because those were probably the two busiest teams that were reaching out on Damon's behalf. So with all the off-field issues, I know that the 49ers tend to not select those players because that is a huge part of what was the issue when they came to the 49ers. When it was the end of Jim Harbaugh, there were a lot of players getting arrested very frequently, often in the wrong place at the wrong time. And obviously that can't be totally avoided. But I think the 49ers since John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have gotten there, very few off-field issues. Obviously there was the Reuben Foster issue, kind of influenced by people on the periphery close to him in his life. So I really do think that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are not, they're going to kick the tires on everybody. They are going to see what each player is about because, they could use another defensive back. And if it's a guy who is in the UFL for a very low price, there's a possibility that, he would come into play at some point. Secondary players are, very rarely do you see the exact same secondary that starts in week one finish the season, because they are out there for every play. They are out there a lot. They get injured very frequently. So I'm not surprised. This is not surprising that the 49ers reached out to find out more about Damon Arnett, as did the Houston Texans. I'm not surprised. Apparently Aaron Wilson, from Houston, he covers the Texans. I've talked to him a lot. He was the guy who had the interview with Daryl Johnston, and that's where it all came out. So not surprised. The 49ers, they do their research. They do their due diligence. They ask about a lot of different players. So I'm not surprised. I would have been surprised if they did sign him just because of the previous off-field issues. But we've seen guys have, made amends. They've, come back from their mistakes and been better, which is what I'm sure they're hoping to see in Deommodore Lenoir. But, obviously just a misdemeanor charge there. So I do think that this is normal behavior for the 49ers. They're going to reach out and discuss, talk to the people that have been around Damon Arnett, talk to, team staff. They're going to talk to the people in the UFL and see, what he's like. Has he turned his life around? Has he turned his off-field issues around? So of course they're going to see what happens. And, it's just like how they do at the draft. They go through all these meetings, they store all of this information. And then later on, when they become free agents, they've got this wealth of knowledge, this kind of stuff that they've kept um, to know what they could be getting into with players. And that's why, they liked Luke Farrell coming out of college. They just didn't have a pick to take him at the time. They liked a lot of guys coming out of college that they end up being, having in free agency. So I do think that's why they do their research and they do talk to, the people around guys like this, where they don't necessarily know them. They haven't been in the league. There's not as many people that have firsthand information on him. So, obviously, best of luck to Damon Arnett and his future in the NFL, and we'll see how it pans out. Um, could be a really good thing, and I hope it is. I always hope that everybody, in the NFL succeeds, turns their life around, and it's a good thing. I do also want to talk about another person in the secondary for the 49ers, and that's Jason Pinnock. I was on the New York Giants podcast earlier this week, and they kind of go to every team that they're going to play in the 2025 season. And so I did like a 20-minute interview with the New York Giants. So if you want to check that out, it's on their podcast on the New York Giants site. But they were really excited for Jason Pinnock, who played for the New York Giants and is now with the 49ers. That they said he is just played really, really well. And they think that he's going to continue his great career with the 49ers. He was a fifth round pick. And you know how those 49ers, those fifth round picks work out well for the 49ers. Fifth round pick, 175th overall in the 2021 NFL draft for the Jets. And then he went to the Giants for 3 years. So he really had some good seasons for the Giants. For the 3 years he was with the Giants, he played 46 games, started 37 of them, 2 interceptions, 123 yards, which means there was one interception for 102 yards, which ended up being the longest return for a touchdown in 2023. He's been very active in tackling in his 4 seasons, 227 tackles with the New York Giants in the last 3 years, 211 tackles, 143 solo, 12 tackles for a loss, which means that he is tackling. He's a run tackler as well. 11 quarterback hits. And I just think, 6.5 sacks. So Jason Pinnock is a baller. And I think the 49ers got a really good deal with getting him as a free agent. And I think he's really going to help out the secondary, especially with Jair Brown coming back from an ankle injury and Malik Mustafa coming back from an ACL injury. So Jason Pinnock might be the steal of free agency for the 49ers because of his experience and what he might be able to do. The fact that he's got 6.5 sacks, and that happened when he was with the Giants the last 3 years, safety blitz, man, that's something that could offset, the balance of defense versus offense. So if he can do that, it's pretty good. His first season with the Jets, he played in 12 games, only started 2. Then his second year, 14 games, started 5. And then the last 2 seasons started 16 games each year. So Jason Pinnock is a guy who I would keep my eye out on during training camp. I think he's going to pan out really well for the 49ers. The guys at New York Giants said he's going to continue his really good play. So that's it for the Monday night, and I hope you all are well. Also, Luke Farrell and George Kittle exclusive interviews are up on 49ers Talk, which is on NBCSportsBayArea.com. They are on the NBCSportsBayArea.com website, YouTube channel, and I wrote stories about both of them. So those are all up on NBC Sports Bay Area. Please check those out. Also, please like, please subscribe. Thank you for your time, and we'll chat soon.